Rogers' adoption curve. The idea that some people adopt faster than others has almost become lore. Everett Rogers is known for his work with adoption through his work with farmers. During that work, he noticed something interesting about the distribution of people who were implementing farming innovations. The groups of people seemed to fall along a standard deviation curve. What's a standard deviation? You see, the bell curve has a name, and it's standard deviation. It's a measure of the samples from the mean of a set. What? The best way to think about this is the way that Francis Galton envisioned it. Imagine a board that has pegs on it. Directly on top is the first peg, and a ball is dropped. And then it can go either left or right. Below are two more pegs, and from there the ball can go left or right. And this continues as the board gets wider and wider, so the pegs form a triangle. At the bottom, you place channels to catch all the balls that fall between each of the bottom row of pegs. If you drop a large number of balls to the board, they'll form a standard distribution, with most of the balls falling near the middle and fewer balls falling along the edges. In a standard distribution, the first cutoff is about 34% from each side of the mean. The second deviation is about 13.6%, and beyond that is roughly 2.5%. Well, what about the innovators? What Roger realized was that people who were innovative represented about 2.5% of all the farmers. These people were willing to try anything to get better and to test new ideas, even without proof. It was the innovators who broke the inertia for an idea and got it started. But what about the early adopters? You see, the early adopters weren't so far out. This 13.6 or so percent were willing to try things with a little, but not without, proof. They'd accept the experiences of the innovators as proof that the innovation would work and could make a difference. More importantly to the adoption of an innovation, they were enough like the majority to create the proof they needed to make a change. Well, what about the early and late majority? Together, the early and late majorities represent 68% of the total population, and they need proof. They need proof that the early adopters bring to feel like it's safe enough to adopt. During this stage of any adoption, the individuals are consuming proof that the change is working for others, and they're recording their successes and failures as well. But what about the laggards? Rogers grouped the second deviation and beyond into a single category he called the laggards. The laggards were those who require a substantial amount of proof, or who need special assistance to feel like the change is possible for them. So what are the implications? The primary implication of this model is that you need innovators to kick off the process and early adopters to bridge the gap between the innovators and the majority. The innovators are simply too dissimilar from the majority to be able to influence them. Early adopters bridge this gap and make it possible for a small number of innovators to be translated into a major wave of adoption.